Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi, everybody. I mean, this is historic. A historic chat. I am so happy on this historic week in daytime drama to have Karla Mosley, Arielle Prepetit, and Marquita Goings with me from Beyond the Gates. Ladies, amazing first week. What's your takeaway of the build up to this, finally having it launched, sitting on what was going to happen and not being able to tell people? Like, this was like for you, Karla, what was it like for you? I mean, Dani Dupree.
I know.
It's an amazing character.
I know. When I booked the role, Michelle Valjean, who created the show and has been a longtime friend, called and she said, Karla, all the action is stemming from your character. And I said, what? And then we got the scripts and I was like, oh gosh, So it's been so much fun and such a challenge. And we've been creating this beautiful piece of work in a little incubator. And now we get to set it free. And there's always that moment as an artist that you have to have where you go, what are they going to think? I like it, but what will they think? And so to have the feedback be so overwhelmingly positive is more than we could have asked for.
Arielle, what about you? Here you were sitting on this, right? That you had this role.
Yeah.
Playing Karla Mosley's daughter on the show.
No, it's so surreal. I mean, still, I can't believe this is my life still. Like I go to work every day and I'm like, how is this real? I mean, this is kind of like a dream job. It's everything I've been working towards as an actor. And I grew up watching soaps with my grandma. So like I'd seen Karla on screen. I was like, I know those eyes. I know that woman. And see her daughter, and she's set such an amazing example as someone who shows up to set and knows their stuff. And like we get it done. And I'm like, okay, that's the model of being a soap actor, because it's kind of a new genre for a lot of us. So having someone like Karla who knows what she's doing has been a blessing.
And Marquita, oh my God, how great are you at the show? Like they need, everybody wants to slap her. Well, you have been slapped.
Right.
What's it like to play the foil, the nemesis of Dani Dupree? Here's Hayley, who's she's causing so much trouble, and yet she's kind of like, I didn't mean to, but I did.
Right. I mean, I feel like Hayley's story is so many women's story out there. We may not know those story, or they could be, kept on the low, but I feel like it needs to be told. And, just playing against Karla, like to back what Arielle was saying, like she is so prepared and on it. It's like, oh my gosh. So a lot of those moments I'm just soaking them in too and living in the moment with her. But as the nemesis, there's always a bad guy in someone's story. And I'm just happy that we finally can it's kind of like letting everybody in the group chat, like the world now seeing like, oh my gosh, this is what y'all have been working on. It's just amazing.
I mean, and speak to me about, it's predominantly all Black cast. I love the fact that your department heads in costume and hair, like I thought it was very impressive the way the hairstyles, like everyone, it just looked so great. I thought, what is it meant to see this collaborative show come about this way, Karla, that we've never really seen before in daytime?
Yeah, look, I had to fight. I had to go to producers to get a Black hairstylist on a show before. So to be able to have the head of wardrobe or head of hair call and say, well, this is what we're thinking, and here are the different options, and here's a mood board, and we're really excited about protecting your hair and growing it and making sure that your hair comes out better than you came with it, and same thing for makeup. Here are the mood boards. We want to, keep your skin hydrated and moisturized, like people who really understand, and of course the wardrobe that fits our bodies, all different bodies, I think it's so important, and it helps. I realize now that it's something that I haven't necessarily had on other sets, and what a difference it makes to be able to, I think part of the freedom that I feel in playing Dani is supported by that kind of team.
Do you think so too, Arielle, Marquita? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of times you're kind of the only one in artistic spaces. Like I kind of grew up being the only Black girl most of my life. So to be in this group of women and just feel so taken care of. And a lot of times going on certain sets, like in smaller roles that I've done, you kind of come in as a guest and you just never know what you're going to do. So I always just did my hair myself. I always just took care of it because I didn't even want to have to deal with that fuss. So to come on this set and just like not even worry about it at all is such a relief. And I'm so grateful because like we all look so good. And
look at this. Now look at this. This.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I mean that alone, like the different textures that are represented, even, you know, the photographer with, I mean, it looks like locks going on there. You know, it's so exciting to see on TV.
I know. And then of course, you're not
Gorgeous.
She's worried. Like, I am in trouble here at this wedding.
But these clothes, right? And Caroline too, that dress, my gosh, everyone looks stunning.
Amazing. And I have to piggyback on that too, as far as makeup. I've literally gone to sets and I would bring my own makeup bag, but I can honestly say, like, I did have it in the car because you just never know.
You never know.
But
So,
the moment
so
they did my makeup, I was like, I don't have to worry. It's something that I can just now, you know, I don't have to think about that. I can just focus on my character and all the other things that I really, and all actors should only have to focus on. But yeah.
So did you guys have a celebratory, was there a gathering to watch the first episode? Tell me what that was like. Were you all in Atlanta at the studio? Is that what was going on?
So the cast actually, or most of the cast, had two experiences together to watch the first episode. There's something called, there's a man named Trell, and he does these Black excellence brunches that are becoming, or have become, a really fun events where he invites members of the Black community to support Black culture and art and goings on. So he did one for us 2 weeks ago, and none of us had seen the first episode. So we all got to see it together in this audience, with this audience of also folks who hadn't seen it, who had no idea what they were walking into, some who had never watched a soap opera and just came because they were friends of his. So to have all of us see it together and then also hear the reactions of people who didn't know the material was so exciting. And I think all of us just said, wow, this is something. Because of course, you know, film and TV is such a collaborative medium where you just give your part away and then trust that it's all going to come together. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it looks different than you thought, you know. But this was, I think, exceeded all of our expectations, from the choices of music, the way that they cut it. You know, it's just the way it looks is so luxurious and chic and specific to our culture. So I think that was great. And then we had a gathering. When you can talk about it. The second
on Monday, the day of the premiere, we had a gathering with the whole cast and the crew. So, and this was after a full day of working, because we are still working and filming every single day. So after a full day of working, we all got together at the studio where we film in Atlanta, and we watched episodes 1 and 2 together. And it was so fun to just see everybody's reaction. Like the crew, they were loving it. And it was like the family got to watch the show together and see what we created. Yeah. So it was such a fun experience.
I mean, you guys, I've been talking about this, you know, I never thought I would ever see the day in my lifetime that there would be another daytime drama brought in. I was so, you know, Carla's experienced this. I mean, we watched these beloved shows just being canceled and canned. And, you know, when people talk to me all the time, like, you work in soap operas, isn't that antiquated? Nobody watches them anymore. You know, that's what I go through in my experience, you know, as a journalist and as somebody, and they just said, well, you got to get out of it because nobody's ever, you know, it's dying. And so to see this happen is such an amazing moment for so many people, you know, not just you guys, and then even a bigger picture. I mean, do you understand like the importance of kind of like this even getting off the ground is amazing, you know? Marquita, for you, what has this been like? working with Carla, and what has your family said about you're on the show? What are they watching? Are people watching
Oh
you?
my goodness, my whole family is watching. Kind of what Arielle said. Like, I started watching soaps as a little girl with my grandmother and my great aunt. We would literally, we could be out running errands, and it was like, oh, I got to get to the house and watch my stories. So I'm just like, okay, that's what we all called it. Let's go watch the stories. And just like, this is like a full circle moment. I never in a million years thought that I would ever be on a soap opera. And it's kind of like emotional for me because it brings back memories that I have with my late grandmother and my great aunt who's still living. She's almost 90, and she called me. She was like, "Girl, is that you in that leopard jacket?" And she was like, "Oh, forget the other soaps. I'm watching this soap." And it's just like, oh, wow, like this is huge. And for my family to see me in this position representing people who look like me and just feeling like they are a part of the stories too because they know me and they see the representation. And it's just been amazing working with someone like Carla. She is so like on her stuff. I feel like it's not an acting class, but I'm in the scene, but I'm watching her like, oh my
Kind of like,
gosh,
oh,
like,
you're kind of like watching it, right? Going like,
yes, like
Guys.
like, no, seriously, like for real. It's just an amazing
Carla, you have your
experience.
posse here.
I know. Thank you.
I know we got to talk about this. I have to say, Carla, in all my years of watching soap, in 1 week, in 1 week, he hit every soap trope. The drinks were fine. The bit slaps happened. He slept with a hot guy. Right. Then the gun comes out on today's episode. Like in 1 week of episodes of time. I think this was record time. Because usually it works up to like, oh, okay, now she's gonna sleep with a guy. Now she's gonna get. You just went to 10.
I know. That's such a great shot. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. Oh, I might have to make that my profile.
Was that one take? Was that one take?
I think it was. Yeah. Maybe two. Timon will remember.
I think it was 1 or 2, yeah.
It was 1 or 2. Timon will definitely remember.
And then what do we think about this guy?
I don't know. What do you all think? And then
I think he's great.
I mean, well, obviously he's fabulous. Sean's a fabulous actor. I mean, it's so fun to play with everyone on the show. Like it really is. It's ping pong, and we're all just sort of like challenging each other to level up at all times. But we'll see if they think you should be with Ashley, Dani. You know how it goes. The fans have their say.
I have to say, when that episode, which was episode 4, when that came out, we were at work and we were watching during our lunch break. And me and Ronnie Rose, who plays Chelsea, my sister, we were just like this the whole time. We were just like, Mom, no! Gosh, Mother! We couldn't even
listen. That's the way I felt about you in that first episode. I was like, put your clothes on. Come to the country club.
I forgot. Right?
I was just thinking, like, okay, so because the great thing is, so she has sex with Andre.
Yes.
And then she's kind of like, that's all it's going to be because I'm just getting over this relationship. 30 years. I'm like, I love this character.
I know. It's hilarious. It's a hilarious ride to go on, because I think part of the fun and the challenge of soaps is that you're constantly throwing curveballs. And so how do you sew all of this together? I mean, even Maya's storyline, right? It's like we're 3 years in and it's like, well, there's going to be a major shift to what we've known about her. So how do we then, like, as actors, go back and go, all right, I have to make this truthful because no one knows the history like soap fans. So if there's a gaping hole, they will call it out and it's not going to fly. So yeah.
The other thing is, this was the scene where she even goes to Bill and she's now actually trying to reason with him, and she went through every level that she really did in 1 week, like kind of, being tough, pathetic, backstab, right? Went back to him, like,
trying to go to someone new, going back to him, begging him, trying to be honest this time, vulnerable. I know. And then she's just like, well, I've exhausted all my options. So.
I have your Emmy reel in the first week of the show. A lot going on. Yeah, see, she comes in, right?
Good
She's
cranberry coats. Good coat.
Word.
Marquita, how are you playing Hayley? Because, we want to kind of hate her, but then we don't really hate her.
Right. She is so sweet.
I know.
I mean, I feel like, yes, Hayley being Naomi's best friend and betraying her and then betraying Dani, but underlying, like, she has her own backstory. She's not just this like, oh, I'm out to get everybody and I want to, like, she has a line of a list of things that she wants to do to this family. She also comes from a very lonely place. Like, her parents aren't alive and she's been out in the world on her own. So she's still a sweet girl underneath it all.
But
And
no,
I mean, again, I think what Marquita does so beautifully in playing Hayley is that, yeah, she's not just one-sided. It would be easy to just be like, this is the villain, but she's not. Yeah, she's not the villain. She's a human. And that's what makes the most interesting stories, that people are they have their flaws and there's, and we play them as written, but also we make sure that we find their humanity so that we want to keep spending time with these people. That's what makes good drama.
Right. And Arielle, Naomi was responsible for kind of bringing Hayley into their lives. So she has this guilt about the whole thing, right? Like, do you think you could ever see them patching up their friendship?
I don't know. I think it would take a lot because, I mean, essentially she's like a stepmother. Like it's just, the lines are just so crazy now. And Naomi holds a grudge. She is she's not really a softie. She holds a grudge for a long time. So it would take a lot. I mean, I do genuinely think they had a really strong relationship. Hayley was Naomi's best friend. She did everything with her. She told her everything. She confided in her. So I really do think their relationship was genuine. So we'll have to see if it can make it on the other side of all of this mess.
Well, we have a few questions from people in the chat. Jerry's like, Michael, God ask him, what is it like working with great people like Clifton Davis and Tamara Tooney? Carla, I mean,
it's like it's just incredible, and that's what I heard first about Tamara being cast, and that really sealed the deal. I mean, I knew that I wanted to do the job, but of course you're going back and forth in negotiations and what's going to happen, and this, and as soon as they said Tamara was in, it was like, well, whatever, I'll pay you. Because I knew that it would be a set that was professional and kind and, all of the things that we so believe in and that are so important. And that is as important to me, especially doing a soap where we're together so often. That is as important as, loving the writing, I think. And then I found out the day before I was going to set that Clifton was cast. I was getting a wardrobe fitting with Teresa, and I said, "Do you know who was cast as my dad?" And he's like, "Clifton Davis." And I said, "No," because I grew up watching Amen. Okay, and so Anna played my mom, and now Clifton's playing my dad. It was crazy, and they're still so close. They're like brother and sister close. They talk all the time. So now I just have these two icons as my fake mom and dad. And I mean, it is public knowledge that Clifton will be 80 this year, and he's acting circles around us. He's got my acting down.
So good. I loved Clifton Davis way back when he wrote Never Can Say Goodbye. Yes. That was the song, the greatest, that's Clifton Davis, And Arielle, is it true? Because Tamara said there's going to be singing on the show. No, you sing. There's
Yeah, I sing a little. It's so funny. This whole cast is so multi-talented. Yeah, but Naomi has a special relationship with her grandmother because she inherited her gift of singing. So there are some musical moments in the show you'll have to wait for.
Wait, so but you sing?
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
I always get a little shy around, singing. So, but I do sing. Yes.
She's also a great dancer.
Oh, thanks, Carla.
Oh, I saw you guys. You guys didn't you do that promo with the dance with the three of you? Remember?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
The TikTok.
So
The TikTok.
cute.
Yes. Colby, who plays Kat, she's all about the TikTok. She's like, we have to come in early. We have to stay late. We have to make this content. And we're just like, yes, ma'am, whatever you need.
Marquita, what did you think about Clifton and Tamara being the anchors of the show?
Oh, I the same. Like we have icons on this show and they just set great examples. And like Carla said, I too feel like that's important because we're kind of looking, or someone like me who's never done soaps before, but I'm looking to them and just watching them and seeing how they, are on set, and they're a good matriarch and patriarch. It's amazing to say that I work with these people, and I think it shows too on camera, like they have that presence over, around the rest of the cast.
It was brilliant that made me laugh, but it was Carla. So they go to her and they say, "You're like, I'm going away to Paris, right?" And they go, "No, you're not."
Smart choice, by the way, everybody. Just for the record, she's making a smart choice.
Like, "No, you're not." And you go, "What do you mean?" And then you have to do it, and she's at the door with her dad, and she's just like looking at him, and she obviously loves her dad, so she kind of was like, "All right, I guess I'll do this." Little did they know she brings a gun with them. So I have a question here, Jonathan. What was each actress's favorite scene to film during the first week of episodes?
I mean, it's easy for me. It's Monday.
Oh yeah.
Which one is it?
You'll see. Yeah, it's the follow-up to the wedding.
Oh, okay.
This upcoming Monday. Yeah. It's just it was such a fun challenge for me. It's a lot of heavy lifting and the stakes are so high, and it's just like it's an actor's dream. It's sort of like a meal. So I was daunted by it and then proud of myself for getting through it.
Well, we were first thinking that gun's a little weird. Like it was a little gun. We were like, is it like a real gun?
It is. Listen, our prop people were really serious. They were serious about obviously gun safety and everything on set, but they were like, it's a this, and this is the thing that it is, and here's how it works, and here's how you hold it to make sure that we were, look like we were doing, like that I looked like I knew what I was doing.
I love how the gun matches your outfit. Yeah. I love that the gun is fabulous, just like Dani.
So Arielle, what was your favorite scene to film in the first week of episodes we saw?
I think it would be episode 4, which was my confrontation with my father. That was actually the first thing we ever filmed of the soap. Like that was the first frame of the first day of the first everything. And so we started off really strong with that scene. And I was so nervous because, soaps have these monologues, and it was like intense, and it was my most intense scene that week. And to start with that first was a lot, but Timon, who plays Bill, is such a great scene partner. And, there were kinks and stuff we had to get through because it's the first day, but I'm really happy with the way that scene played out and how it went. And it was so fun to just really dig into him like that. They just kept saying more, do more, give him more. I'm like, sorry, Timon.
Is Timon a lot like his character or nothing like it?
Oh my gosh. Couldn't be more opposite.
Yeah, opposite.
He's just constantly joking, sometimes to a fault
Too
where
much.
I'm supposed to be mad at him. And he is telling jokes up until action. And I'm like, you have to stop. I have to focus.
Right?
Laugh.
I need to focus.
Like you. Yes.
Marquita, what about you? What was your favorite scene to film in the first 5 episodes that we saw this week?
Oh, that's tough.
Or is it
I
coming
mean,
up on Monday?
that Monday, I feel like Monday is a great one. But I just to say one, I enjoyed the slap or the punch. That was fun to do.
Because you have to do the turn. You have to turn
the
You have to
timing.
sell it. Yeah.
Yes.
to sell it. It's really up to you on the other end to sell the slap, right? Like yeah.
Yeah, she had to, like the timing. She had to punch at a certain time, and I had to sell that. My dog.
It's nerve-wracking. And about the left hook, yes, I am a lefty. Someone was like, you threw with your left hand, you punch with the left hand. Yeah. Lefty strong.
I'm a lefty. Yes. So yeah, she said, Marnie says, Naomi read Bill, she laid him out. Arielle did an incredible job.
Oh,
those are great scenes.
Thank you. Yeah, they were fun.
So what do you think about Fairmont Crest and the whole way they kind of built this gated community and the country club and there's these little gems within the show, right, that reflect Black excellence and Black culture and all of the nods. So what did you think about all that when you kind of learned wow, they're really taking this to great steps to make this as authentic as possible and represent? I guess that's what right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say, is that it's authentic. What I love is hearing from people who are from the DMV area that are like, yeah, that's me. That's my family. Even coming down to Georgia, we all went to, or a few of us went to an event early on, and I was driving in and I was like, is there a golf course in this community? Is that an entire village in here? So these places do exist, and they are, filled with affluent Black families. And so it's exciting to represent that part of our culture. We have dogs, we have babies.
Children and dogs.
What's next?
It makes me feel better, Marquita. But yeah, so I think I think what's exciting is to reflect a part of our culture that hasn't really been examined. It hasn't had much examination on the screen.
And you guys are working, the soaps all work at different paces. Like Days of Our Lives is 9 months ahead of air, which is just mind-boggling, which is so hard for all of us to kind of track for the actor, especially when you do interviews with actors, you don't know where they are at and all that. Are you guys filming like a couple months ahead, like usual? Like most soaps are like 6 weeks usually ahead of air. Is that kind of where you're at?
I feel like we're like 3 months, maybe.
Probably
would you say?
Two. About 2. I know it feels like it should be more. Oh no, 3. You're right. 12 weeks. Yeah, that's about right. Mm-hmm.
So when you see kind of it's like a new machine, right? I mean, you've got a lot of people behind the scenes that have worked in daytime. The directors, you have producers, people. Does it feel like things go like, are there kinks to be worked out in the production behind the scenes, or are you guys getting in and out of? Are your days long?
So smooth. We've had 0 kinks. We literally just walked on this. I'm lying.
I was like,
I'm sitting here like,
what set were you on? 'Cause no, I mean, I think being in Atlanta doing a soap, that's not generally the case. I remember being in an acting class, and a teacher gave me a soap script, and I was like, why am I'm never going to audition for soaps. They're out in LA and I'm in Atlanta. So when this came along, I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But it is good that we have that leadership at the top to we got to teach the crew down here how to, do a soap. And for me, like some of the language is different and like how quickly everything is. It's like whiplash sometimes, but I think now we're at our stride. I think now we finally got it. And, every now and then with long days, like the wedding was a very long day. That's a huge feat to do. But we did it. So we have a lot of those big group scenes that do take longer, but I think for the most part, we really hit our stride, which is great.
Yeah.
I'll just add that, as amazing as the show looks, we learned, and you might have known this, but I learned when we watched the episode, I was sitting in front of Julie Carruthers, one of the producers, and she said, we didn't have all our lighting equipment that first week. Like they were shipping it from Germany. and it hadn't arrived. And CBS was like, full steam ahead. And we were like, but we have no lights. And they were like, oh, well. And we had, the cameraman had never shot for soaps before. So we literally had a woman who came out of retirement for like a month to a month and a half and was on set, like teaching them how to get their shots, you know? It was amazing. But everyone was so down. Everyone was so patient and loving with each other and understanding. It did mean that we had to play some insane catch up. A couple weeks ago, we shot, I feel like we had material from 17 episodes or something in 1 week. It was bonkers, and we almost all lost our minds. But now, I think that was like the hazing week, and now we seem to be settling into a more normal, you know, like 5 to 7 episode group
week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a prediction. I think Dani was daydreaming and didn't really pull out the gun. Lisa Mitchell.
That's a
I say no things. I say no things.
It makes sense. I just love hearing people predict what's going to happen. Like, I have a cousin chat, and they are in there like, I think Ashley's going to sleep with the photographer and do this. And then I'm just sitting back like, hee hee. I love all the theories and predictions. It's so fun.
The best part, and the compilation videos and the memes. Keep them coming. They make me laugh.
The memes already, and this is just getting started. I'm trying to think like where Dani, you obviously know, but do you see more of this in her future? Like, will she just be slapping and throwing drinks like for weeks? Like, you gonna get it together? Or
I will say the violence does simmer down, so she's not just like, she doesn't just like go turn into Rambo and like enlist in the army or something, you know, like that. She does come, that part does simmer down. But she does not simmer down. She does not, like, spoiler alert, she doesn't take it well, you know.
Do you see her, how do you view her? You know, is she like an Erica Kane? You know, is she like that kind of character, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think she's like an Erica Kane.
Riva. You know.
Riva.
Yep.
Right. Because remember, Riva didn't come on as all sweet and, you know, there were, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think, you know, I think that's what's so cool about her. She's not just insane, and she's not just a villain. She's a mom, and she's very much a part of the family, but she makes mistakes, and she makes them loudly. So, and that's just, you know, when I think about her backstory, I think she always was that person in her family. You know, it was always like, oh God, you know, and especially because we think about the daughter of politicians and what you're asked to do. And so, like you brought up the moment with her father. I think she's been asked many times in her life to make compromises, to go along, to get along with her family. But whereas Nicole probably just did it pretty easily and was fine, Dani, you know, was probably the one to show up hungover to the, you know, the church service at the National Cathedral or whatever. But she was that girl.
And Dani's the baby too, in a sense. So I'm sure.
I'm waiting for the daughters to Mommy Dearest to book on Dani.
Totally. Wire hangers, no more wire hangers.
I do love how like the reflection of Dani and Nicole are kind of like Chelsea and Naomi also. Like Naomi being the oldest daughter, kind of having to adult, you know, both Chelsea and her mother at times. So I do like that similarity.
Do you think that, you know, we talked about like the Erica Kane type of thing. Did you know that going in, Karla? Like how?
Yeah, I think once I received the scripts, and Michelle also references or has mentioned Betty Davis in passing, who, you know, and I will say a little Easter egg there, you know, Dani orders a vodka martini very dry. She does that a couple of times, which is, it was, you know, a call out to Betty Davis. So I think, you know, these women who are, I'm taking that to heart, because what I love about these women is that they were so, even Katharine Hepburn, like, you know, that they have the ability to play, and of course, Susan Lucci, Kim Zimmer, like all of these women, to play characters who don't mind making things uncomfortable and being unlikable, and who make like weird choices that are so interesting and fun. And, so I think being allowed to do that is such a gift.
Marquita, what was it like knowing Michelle Volgin created the characters on the show, and this was kind of her thing, and you're playing one of her characters, and you met her, obviously, at some point.
Yes.
What was that like
Absolutely.
meeting the creator of the show, who all things sprang, and you're playing one of these key characters, and what was that moment like for you?
I met her after booking the role when we were on or right before set, but I just thought it was amazing because I know she's been in the game for so long and she is a veteran, and it's just like, wow, I get to.
Wait, we lost you. Wait. We don't hear you. We're not hearing you.
No.
What happened?
Right now.
Can you hear me? We can't hear you. You're on. We're not hearing you. You want to log off and come back on? Okay. Arielle, did you meet Michelle at some point? And like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm playing this character that you.
Yeah, it's insane. I got to meet Michelle during the table read, I think. And during the table read, we had like a little luncheon, and she sat with me and Carla. I got to sit with Carla and Michelle, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And she's the sweetest, nicest woman. And she got to tell me some things that were going to happen in the future. And I'm like, oh yeah, she knows exactly what's going to happen. Like, she created this. So to like pick her brain a little bit, it was really great. And she's so sweet. And I love anytime she comes back to Atlanta to come visit.
Now, what about Naomi's relationship with her husband?
Mm.
Is this a solid relationship, or is there problems? He's the cop, right?
Yeah. He's now a detective.
Right.
And I mean, I see them as kind of the aspirational couple in the show. There's a lot of drama within other couples that happen, and Jacob and Naomi they do have a very solid relationship. They're very communicative. They speak well to each other. They hype each other up. They're their biggest champions. But there are things that happen that are very layered, that are very complex. And to see them get through it, or maybe not, like, that was really interesting, because they are a strong couple, but they really go through something. They go through some serious stuff, and to see how they like go through it was really fun to play. And Dupree, who plays Jacob, is such a great partner. He's so sweet. He has no ego. I couldn't have asked for a better TV husband.
Carla, what do you think you could preview? Obviously, you can't give anything away, but are you saying that she won't get locked up, will she? She's not going to be sent away.
Dani Dupree is, we'll see. Was it a daydream? Was it not? Was it, all I can say is she doesn't go full Rambo. That's what I can give you.
Marquita, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so sorry.
You were talking about Michelle, and you were saying you
now I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh no.
Why?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we were saying, Michelle, you met her after you got cast.
Yes.
You were explaining about meeting her.
Yes.
Right?
And after it was okay. And after meeting her and the first few days of the show going, and her telling me that she's loving what I'm doing with the character, that means a lot to me, because I didn't know, and I'm still learning some of the backstory of Hayley. I know there's going to be some new things to come, and I was just happy that not only I'm doing my own work for myself, but that the writer creator, someone that I know who has been in the game for a very long time and respect, is loving what I'm bringing to something that she created.
That's amazing. All right. So here's the question here. Carla, is Dani your favorite part to play, or is it equal to your guiding light and B&B characters?
I'm
Penny.
happy to be playing Dani now. I think I couldn't have played Dani, or I wouldn't have played her with the same freedom and depth 20 years ago. So and I think that each of these characters came at a time and sort of paved the way for me to play Dani. Christina was sort of really sweet and just an introduction to daytime, and also to be on such a long running show that we all loved and cherished so much. To meet Lawrence St. Victor there, who is still my, dear friend and work partner, all of that. And then to move over to Bold and the Beautiful, play Maya, and have this, again, an iconic storyline happen there that just married my activism, my own identity, and then and also helped me to come to terms with many things that I was exploring and wondering about myself during that time. So she really grew me. And then I had 2 kids, and that kind of and then that sort of led
about the
to,
article, was it in People about
Yeah.
the birth of your 2 kids and how it prepared you? 'Cause they were upstairs, and
that quote it just made me laugh so hard. I think it was something like, Karla Mosley says, having 2 babies in a pool upstairs prepared me for this role, which is what I said.
Because at first, and without thinking about it, I'm like, wait, she has a swimming pool upstairs? Then I finally
Pool,
figured it out. But at first I was like, oh, she has a pool upstairs.
I know. And then my friend Rebecca, who's so funny, she wrote, one of her comment was, and then you didn't even tell them about the pool party we had afterwards.
But were you saying that because of the birth of your children, it helped you prepare for this?
Yes, I was, because there is a strength. There's something that happens, and Marquita knows this, I'm sure, again, as a mom, that there's something that happens in becoming a mother that really changed me entirely, helped me to know myself in a very different way, and the depth of what I can do, the power, how I relate to people in the world, how I stand up to people. And so I think that strength has prepared me to play Dani.
Citizen Morgan is just giving you was one of the best performances as Maya. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, that makes me cry. I loved her. I
loved Maya and what you did with it. And it was a very, it was difficult because there was a lot of issue people were taking with it at the time. And it was still such an important story to tell, and for you to get to tell it.
For sure. And it was important. I wish that they'd recast her with a trans actor. That's my personal wish, but it doesn't always happen that way. But I think it was, I hope that and I think that it did open up the space for more trans actors to be able to be working.
I agree. So are you guys, do you guys, what soap operas? They're asking me, what you mentioned your soaps. What soaps did you watch growing up or before? What did you watch?
In the Restless.
I was a General Hospital kind of household, as well as Bold and the Beautiful. And my grandma didn't speak a lick of English. She didn't speak any English, but she could tell me exactly what was going on. She told me exactly what was happening. She knew. And I love
Hospital.
Both General Hospital and Bold and Beautiful. She would go from one to the next to the next to the next.
And Marquita is YNR.
Yes.
YNR.
Yes.
Okay. Carla, did you watch?
We were an ABC family. So I started watching General Hospital when I was in middle school, high school, because that was like the Stone, Brenda years, and when Luke and Laura came back, and oh gosh, I just loved that storyline so much. And then but my mother watched All My Children and One Life to Live, but my grandmother watched Guiding Light. So it's like, that's the thing, these stories have been with our families for so long, and that's why it feels so special and nostalgic, and why it's such an honor to be in people's homes like this again, and that they're accepting us with such open arms.
Yeah.
What was that? Yeah. And kind of wrapping up today, was there a tearjerker, or like a moment of tears for you guys when the birth of the show happened? Like either when you saw yourself on there or with everybody, this is, again, an accomplishment, and you guys should be so proud to be on this show. And I think Marquita and Arielle, I already said, I think you guys are two of the stars to watch, breakout stars to watch on the show. Carla is just the best. I think it's set up pretty good, right?
Right.
So did you have a moment of, did you guys have a pinch yourself moment? Like, I'm so proud I got this part, or?
Definitely. I think even before the show aired, for me, just even driving to the studio and like, oh wow, this is about to be my life, and just walking inside and seeing the sets and just being around everyone, I definitely had a few moments to myself, just living in that and just being so grateful and appreciative, because like Arielle said, it's like a dream come true, something that I've been working so hard for. It's like, wow, it's here, my moment is beginning in a sense.
Yeah, like Marquita said, with like the full circle moment, my grandma passed away this past year. She was 99, and
Wow.
I just like I still get emotional when I think about it. Like, I wish she could be here to like be sitting in her chair and watching her soap and watching me on that soap. Like, I wouldn't even believe that is just crazy to think that, it's like this little gift from my grandma, and my mom, she watches it and she's just so happy and so proud. But like, not only that is the nostalgia, like people are saying like, oh, I'm so excited to have my own stories to watch and start from the beginning, because these shows are legendary and a lot of people couldn't have started them from the beginning. So to have people say, and even DM me, I've gotten some DMs of people being like, oh, this really resonated with me because of X, Y, and Z. And like, I love that I get to watch this from the start. Like, it's really, really touching for me. So I get emotional almost every day.
Yeah.
Carla, what about you? How are you through it?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I think getting to work with people, getting to tell these stories, like looking in the eyes. I had such beautiful sister moments with Rain Edwards on Bold and the Beautiful, and now to get to have that again with Daphne is incredible. I have my own sister. She's here right now. She just pulled Willa out of our interview. So, I think that relationship in particular has always been such a meaningful one for me. So I'm happy to be able to revisit it. There was another I had a little Easter egg like you, Arielle, in that not only was it amazing that I've now worked with both Clifton and Anna Maria Horsford, but also my dad, who passed away 20 years ago, his name was Clifton. And I have an Uncle Vernon. I know, it's so crazy. And then not only that, there was a typo. So our grandfather on the show is Paul Cheeks. My grandfather in life was James. And there was a typo once in the script that said James. So he's like, your grandfather James, and he's Vernon and Clifton. I was like, what's happening? This is crazy. So, but I'd say as far as like in the lead up, with all the press and our PR team did such a good job, and
Amazing
we've had
job.
amazing support from George Cheeks, the president of CBS. Like, it's been incredible. But when Daphne and Tamara were in New York, and she sent a video of the marquee or the billboard in Times Square. And, I'm a New York kid, and like, I grew up going down to Times Square. That's what it makes me emotional now. Like, that's where I wanted to start acting. That's where I saw myself being. And I still do, by the way. I'm coming back. I'm just coming through Atlanta up to New York. But yeah, so to see that in New York, in my hometown, my mom was able to drive down and see it. So I think that really brought tears to my eyes for sure.
Well, in closing, real quick, here's a comment for you, Marquita. Oh, wait, that's not it. Sorry.
But thank
Marquita
you.
reminds me of a young Debbie Morgan.
Ooh.
I've gotten that.
I'm thinking that's high praise.
For sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've played a young Debbie Morgan on a movie or TV show, maybe twice. I've played the younger version of her.
Oh,
Wow.
Mary G, you are on to something here. It's already
Oh my gosh. Let's bring her in to play her mom.
Yeah.
Have a mom, Carla.
About-
Right? You didn't have a mom.
But we don't know. Did your parents die? We don't know.
No,
Do we?
because there's a question.
Okay.
So it's Debbie Morgan and Darnell Williams.
That's right.
Yes.
And then finally, okay, what Easter egg on the set amazed each of you most? Was there
Well, there's, you've heard in the interviews, Michelle talking about Orphe Jeans is named after her mother, which I think is so, so lovely. The Articulettes was her girl group growing up when she's a little girl in Chicago. And the painting, the mural in Fairmont Crest is George Cheek's grandfather, his actual grandfather, who was a real estate developer. So those are three that I thought were really personal and beautiful.
I feel like I'm constantly learning about things on set through watching like the interviews and just being at work and being like, oh, that's what that is. I'm always learning something new. Like at Orphe Jeans, the pictures that are up on the walls are different, like members of the NAACP or people that were involved in the NAACP. I think that's really cool. And then just today we filmed something that is a nice little Easter egg for the soap fans that I think they'll appreciate, but that's way later.
that's down the line?
Yeah.
Marquita, was there anything you liked? You can't hear
I
me.
can't hear.
Sabotage.
Thank you all so much for being here with me today. And thank you everybody for joining us in the live chat. This is really a great way to close out like an historic week for this show and for daytime to have Carla, Arielle, Marquita with us. Thank you all so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, really. And thanks to everyone for watching. It means so much. Obviously, continue to share, to communicate with us. We love it.
It just keeps getting better too. The trauma just keeps getting better.
Okay, you heard it here. We got bravo here. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody, so much. And be back on Monday. I'll be back with Lisa Yamato, the Bold and Beautiful, for live chat. And then on Tuesday, Nathan Owens of The Young and the Restless. So it's a CBS daytime triple header here.
Love that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.